Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vault Dwellers Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Mac, and with me, my other fantastic co-host, artist extraordinaire, Gary Moore. Gary, what's happening, mate?
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
It's been a while.
Episode 3, could you believe it?
Episode 3.
Is it 3? Aye,
This is
3,
4.
aye. Oh, this is 4. That's a good start.
I'm not editing this, so we just keep going. Episode 3.4.5.
Episode 4. Could you believe we actually got this far already?
And there's bonus episodes in there as well. Just so if you think, I've got 3 episodes to listen to, you can listen to another 2 purely gaping related, pinpoint historical predictions, things like that.
Yep.
Some state of play reacts. Some good content there. But episode 4, and honestly, I'm with you. It's been strange. We obviously recorded a few episodes off the bat. Couldn't get enough recording in our sleep. That's what we were at that point where we're just wanting to just record, and then obviously we done a few. Not to say we did a few and get burnt out. We done a few. We had that many in the bank that we just need to stop and let it go and then get caught up. Obviously, other things on in that as well. So it's good to be back in front of the microphones.
We did like 5 in 3 weeks or something like that, which was a lot more than we even anticipated we would even do. We were thinking it was going to be a once a month type deal, but we just caught the bug.
After that first episode, I'm like, we need to really try and do this fortnightly as best as we can, which we've been managing without any real problems, and that's what I've been kind of advertising the podcast when anybody asks me. So it's a fortnightly thing, and just trying to make sure that we try and keep up with that. But we've, as I say, we live busy lives and have mad routines, so it might slip, and it's important that we don't hold ourselves to account too hard when that does inevitably happen. Holidays and whatever else, we know that kind of thing can happen. So we're here. We're recording another episode 4 we're on now, as Gary said, episode 3.4. Episode 4, and it's going to revolve around it's going to be hobbies, particularly hobbies outside of gaming. But before we get to that, if there's anyone who hasn't listened to the Vault Dwellers podcast, you basically we've got a podcast here that is essentially just 2 pals. I don't want to swear, but we're talking a lot of rubbish is what we're doing, if I'm honest. We're just talking we're talking as 2 friends about a number of different topics, whether it be games or movies or some mental health stuff that we're planning to do in the future, predictions, reacts, all of that stuff. And we're excited to kind of delve into any range of topic. We have a massive list of films, anime stuff, loads and loads of different things. So there's going to be something for everybody coming up in the future. Obviously, usually we have this at the end of the episode. We will keep the actual segment at the end of the episode, but please do write in. We have had a few write-ins, and it's brilliant to interact with you guys as an audience. Obviously, we know there's a few listeners who kind of keep up and they give us feedback, live feedback. We appreciate that. Obviously, you know who you are. It's really, really good that people are still listening. It's a crazy thing to think we're putting something into the world, and people are actually enjoying it. So hopefully you have a safe journey wherever you're going, because I know people listen to this in the car. And sit back and relax, because we've got you for the next hour or 3, depending on how Gary feels. For something different this week, as I say, before we get into this week's episodes, the main topic, we are going to try out a quick segment of what have we been playing. So really, what have we been playing since the last time we recorded, or what have we been playing lately? So Gary, your idea, your segment, mate, why don't you kick us off? I've been talking long enough.
Yeah, so it was actually the other day. I was on Amazon buying stuff, and I was looking, and it was, you go through your account, and it was like my reviews or something like that. And I clicked it, and I was looking at all my old reviews that I used to do for like games, like back like PlayStation 3,
I forgot
and
about that.
I said to Sean, like as soon as I was done it, I was like, you know what? I just liked that because reading it, it was like a wee dear diary.
Aye.
The games I was playing and how I felt, and I just thought, we've got this podcast, and as you said, we kind of try to aim to do it every couple of weeks, and I just think it'd be nice just to have that wee bit of historic value in it, like what we were playing at that time and how we felt about that game, and it progresses, next couple of weeks we could play something different, or we could be finishing the games that we're playing. So I just kind of just wanted to have this wee segment in the numbered episodes, just for us really.
Aye. It's a good
Aye.
marker to have. Obviously, we generally don't date the episodes that were specifically recording as an episode, as opposed to the reacts or the state of play reacts or predictions or anything like this. It can literally be listened to at any point because they're not really specifically about it, and it'll probably be the same for movies and things like that. We're actually we're picking older movies typically, so it's not like we're not really in the we're not really trying to put something out and be amongst the crowd type thing, or we need, the latest episode of this is out, so we need to quickly get our reacts out and get it out so somebody can find it. Like I'm not really interested in that. We did try that for E3, but just because we had it recorded more than anything else, we just want get it recorded and get it out, so we're amongst the mix. But it's not really something we don't have, the ambitions for the podcast like that. Obviously we want people to listen, but we don't really need to be shoving it like down people's throats like that. So what you been playing, mate?
Yep, so this week I started Phoenix Rising, I think it's called. Immortal Phoenix Rising. So I started that. I was kind of in a bit of gaming limbo actually. Didn't really know what to play. Came off FIFA and I've came off NBA, so it's two sports games that I kind of been playing for the last couple of months. So I wanted a wee story type game, so I started this Immortal Phoenix Rise. And it's quite good actually. I was quite shocked. I thought like it's just how you usual Ubisoft like hack and slash played it before Assassin's Creed type games, and it is that, but it's also really different as well. I would say the combat is a lot more. I would say it's like a Devil May Cry light kind of game. It's kind of you do combos and stuff like that, and there's a bit of like you can do a bit of juggling, or you can be up in there like and hitting down and stuff like that. So it is different, like compared to like Assassin's Creed games. And also it's full of comedy, which I was really surprised at. They've obviously just been like, oh, Assassin's Creed so serious. Can we try something a wee bit more lighthearted?
Is this in like cutscenes, or is this like it's just part of
throughout the game? Throughout the full game. So not to spoil things, but the full way through it, the full game's getting narrated by Zeus, and I can't remember the other guy. Can't remember his name now. By another god, he's telling a story to Zeus, and Zeus is like commenting on all your actions. So you go to a temple and he'll be like, "Oh, aye, this is a temple, a thingy. Oh, I remember." And then he gives you a wee bit of backstory about the temple, but it's
clever.
It's like funny. It's a few times I have actually sniggered. It's quite good. But the other game I've also been playing, I started with Final Fantasy VII.
Right, okay. And that's purely because of the latest trailer that we've seen for the new release, which, what is that, 16?
Yeah, 16. Yeah, I seen the trailer for 16 and I thought, do you know what? I've never really played a Final Fantasy game. I think I tried 15. I did the demo and I was like, oh, this isn't for me.
Right.
But I know everybody really likes the remake of Final Fantasy VII, so I just thought, you know what, I've got it there. It was a PlayStation Plus game, I think. So I was like, you know what, just download it and start it. So played it. I'm like, this game's good, but I'm trying to understand it. The combat and stuff. It's kind of tactical-ish, but it's like a tactical action type game.
I see. That's what I
So
wholly don't like about the kind of games, that
yeah,
style of the combat. I think that's why this trailer gripped me so much, that it doesn't look like it's like that so much.
yeah, yeah. So although I'm saying it's tactics, you're actually pressing the button. See, if you press square, like he is swinging the sword for
Yeah,
square.
yeah,
It's not just like he's constantly. You press square, hold square, and he's just like slash slash slash. You know, you are actually controlling it. I think you can also do it like tactical if you want. You can change
right.
it. But I'm playing obviously the action one. But it's one of the games where it's like you're gonna be versing this boss for like 20 minutes, and it's all about like trying to get your health up and doing magic and stuff. And I'm trying to I've only played like maybe the first chapter, maybe into half the second chapter. And I'm like, I don't know if this game's for me, but I'm just going to try and bear with it because it's beloved. And I just feel like I need to at least get a good shot.
Aye. So you kind of think that, right? If I don't enjoy this, why should I be looking forward to 16 type thing?
Yeah,
I don't really
exactly.
know what to do when it comes to. I like the look of 16. I just don't really know. I'm not playing it. I'm not going to play any of the other ones. I know that myself. But I don't know if I'm going to need to maybe watch some sort of catch up thing or something like that. But anyway, we can deal with that
Yeah,
a wee
I
bit
think the
closer
thing
to
about
then.
I think the thing about Final Fantasies is I don't think they're really related. You know, I don't think like 15 is related to 16. I think they're
All
like
right.
totally like I think they're totally different characters, and I think sometimes in the games like I think you get like a 13. It was a 13. I think 13's got a A or something like
Right.
that. So I think
So they're
that's a
standalone.
sub. Aye, so I'm pretty sure that most of them are like standalone games. Which I totally agree. 16, the trailer looked they looked like Devil May Cry fighting,
Yeah.
which really intrigued me as well. So
Aye.
yeah, that's the reason I went to Final Fantasy 7.
No, that's fair enough. It's I can kind of I see the reason for doing that, but I've been listening obviously to people talk about those games, and they really like the kind of original ones, the Final Fantasy games, and then whatever one it was that they remade, like they're gone mad about as well. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just no. I can play games like that at times, but just I think Final Fantasy. Like, I don't mind the tactics side. You know, I played um, Octopath Traveler for quite a bit on the Switch when it first came out. So I don't mind that tactics turn based stuff. You know, the South Park games, they were the same. Don't mind it. It's just the cutscenes, they're just too long. That's just it. That's just it. I watch people streaming the Final Fantasy online game as well, and there's just sometimes they're just no touching the controller for like 45 minutes and stuff. And that's no. I'm not really interested. I'm not even interested in the story of the games that I actually play. Most of the time,
yeah,
I just don't play. I don't play games like that. I have like story beats hit me, but not. But I don't listen to every bit of every story. I just don't. It doesn't always click with me, so I don't always retain
yeah.
it. But luckily, I've been playing a game that doesn't require any story because I make the story for it. And SnowRunner, it's a game that I've been streaming since finishing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Obviously, I had switched to a wee bit of Everybody Saves the World, which is an indie game that's everybody should, if they've got Game Pass, should be checking out because it's pretty cute and fun. I will go back to that and play it, but I wanted to play some of this SnowRunner. It was what I was actually wanting to play that day, and I had an update, so it was itching me that I wanted to try and play this. I had a few. The first time I played it wasn't really clicking with me. I didn't really understand it, and then the second time it was just the same again, just frustrated because obviously you're streaming it for like 2 hours and nothing's really happening. I just kept getting stuck. So I wasn't really thinking about the game properly because obviously you're speaking to chat and whatever else. But I watched like just one YouTube video was kind of enough because they pointed me in the direction of a free truck that you get. And that kind of opened a few different things for me because I thought I'm going to have to try and do loads of missions to get new stuff, and I can't unlock things without doing these missions. And I can't get doing the missions because I'm stuck and there's roadblocks, and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. But thankfully, another stream under the belt, and it's it's clicked pretty well with me. I'm enjoying it now. But obviously that's on the Xbox ecosystem, and I'm largely playing on the PlayStation. So I have started Horizon Zero Dawn as well. So I'd say I was kind of itching to get back to play that because I obviously won't go into it, but I did play an hour of it this morning, and it does feel really, really good. It's the first big game that I've played on the new TV as well, the kind of QLED TV, and it just looks really, really nice. So I probably kicked myself that I've not started it sooner, but I wanted to get that platinum for Tiny Tina's at the Road before moving on to something else. I'm obsessed with my list of games, as you know, so I need to do things methodically, so I don't have too much clogging up the brain.
You know, I don't even mind waiting for games nowadays because you're just getting the better version of it nowadays, aren't you, when you're waiting that maybe 6 months later.
Aye, definitely. With these updates and that are coming out at the time, let the people that are itching get through all the bugs, and then we can mop up all the joys of the games. I mean, you look at the what's the Jedi Fallen Order. Obviously, we had a few issues with that. I didn't have too many. I think because I was playing on the PS4 Pro at the time, and it maybe had slightly less glitches than your standard PlayStation. I know we covered this in another episode when you had a few different things happening, but obviously when you then went to replay it, given you went to play it on your new console, but it's like a year later and you don't see any of these issues anymore. You're thinking, well, maybe I should have just waited at the time, because you're not losing it by waiting. The game's going to be remaining exactly the same, and thankfully you've managed to pull yourself away from the grasp that is social media, so you're not going to get it spoiled either. So, hooray to Gary, well done, GG's. So yeah, obviously this week's episode, as we mentioned at the top, is obviously going to be around hobbies, particularly hobbies outside of video games. We're going to cover video games to death through a load of other episodes, so we'll generally stay wide of that. Up front, one of my main hobbies is obviously the Twitch streaming side of things. I won't get into the games that we play though. So as much as it's around video games, it's still, for me anyway, it's still slightly different to playing games. As much as most of the time when I play games, I'm in party chat, so I'm chatting anyway, but it's a different experience. So we'll get into that fairly soon. So we've obviously got a wee Google Doc for running through some stuff that we threw together last minute. So I'm hoping Gary's got any, because we never actually spoke about this, but I've wrote on there childhood hobbies. Did you have any kind of childhood hobbies outside of gaming growing up? Did you go to any classes? I don't really know if I know anything about that.
Just football, really. Used to go to a wee local football team when I was younger. Maybe did that for, 2 years maybe. Football was just, Glasgow's just known for just being a football daft city, and it truly is. I don't know anybody that doesn't play football or likes football. Everybody's got a hand in football somewhere. But yeah, football was, played football every single day, like when I was about 6 to about 13.
We were the same. We'd even just, it wasn't, I never played for like a the school I played for, anything like that. I just went like at the back, at the garden. And we lived in like tenements, so you had loads of people like on facing you, so it was like closes, and it was 6 in the block type thing, and you would just go out and there would be like people coming for all the different houses, for like all the different backs. They'd come over and you'd get a couple of games, or you'd climb the fence and go into the school and get the jumpers down in a big wide area and try and play football in there. And it was, as you say, it was literally every day.
Aye, literally I mean, I injured myself like 6 times when I played football.
Wow.
Broken bones and everything. Was no like just no serious stuff, you know. Like broke my elbow and broke my wrist. Hairline fractured both my elbows at different times. Broke my wrist playing football. Bruised my coccyx playing football.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
But so what happened? 6 weeks later, you were back out playing again.
Oh,
you know?
aye. Listen, just because I fell off my bike and get this big dirty nasty dent in my head doesn't mean I never rode my bike 2 weeks later or
exactly,
2 hours later, probably actually at that point. But I wouldn't even really call those kind of things like, say, I was, you know, obviously your bikes and all that stuff. That was just childhood stuff. Something that I would call a hobby. We did go out and kick a bit, but generally it was always football. Along the sports vein, I did play rugby for a few weeks in an after school kind of thing. It was something that you had to sign up to in that, and went down to the wee place across Ibrox Stadium and had a few kind of practice sessions or whatever in there, and then I just gave it up. I think it was a Friday night, I'm not entirely sure though. But because there was only like 4 kids, maybe 5 kids including me, it was quite difficult to stay enthusiastic about it, because we were just there doing like a couple of drills and stuff, and then they would just keep giving me the ball because I was like the big guy, and they're like, run. And I'm like, no, because they'll hurt me, because they're going to tackle me. So I kept like running to the side, and they're like, no, run straight forward. Like, no, no, because he's going to hurt me. He's pulling me to the ground, and I was just perpetually fear that somebody, because it was trackies that you're kicking about in, and I was just like, somebody's going to like tackle me and grab onto my trousers, and I'm going to move forward. My trousers are going to fall down. Like that was what that was my crutch to the reason I'm not a rugby star today, is because I was fear that my trousers were going to fall down. Right. So that was the end of my rugby career. I do wish that I kept it up. I said that I was speaking to our Ben last night actually about it, and I do wish, I don't know, it was this morning, whatever. I do wish that I'd kept it up, because I wanted to. It was a year later, and they actually did have a full team, and they were going away and playing games and stuff. So I did have a wee bit of, no resentment, but I was a wee bit kind of like, oh, that's a bit. I should have stuck that out, because maybe even just for the sake of it would have introduced, you know, a wee bit of sport and exercise outside the school. But I don't think it would have changed the path from anything else, if I'm honest. Really, just something for a year.
I've got a story like that as well. Me and my big brother. I've always like kind of like fighting, like mixed martial arts, boxing. You know, I've always quite had an interest in all that kind of stuff, but never really went to any classes or nothing. Didn't do anything like that. My mum was always like, "You're not going to boxing." I remember asking her one time. I was like, "Can I go to boxing?" She's like, "No, you're not going." She was like, "Have you seen the state of their noses and all that?" she's like, "You're not getting up your messed up face." So one day my big brother was like, "Do you know what? Let's go to a Taekwondo class." And we're like, "Right, okay." So we signed up for it. We didn't sign up, but it was like, come for introductions to this Taekwondo class. So we turned up, me and my big brother sitting there. Now he must be at least in his 20s, like early 20s. So I was maybe a teenager, just going into my teens. And we're sitting there, and these guys are doing super kicks. It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff, you know, like they're doing like splits in the air and like kicking these boards that are like 8 feet in the air and stuff like that. And me and my big brother just looked at each other, and we were just like, "Aye, we just gone then? Aye, we just leaving?"
No.
That's something you need to start when you're a young man, like definitely, because no way. Like,
it's a discipline.
No way you're going in there like he was 20, and as I said, I was like early teens. No way you're going in there and be like, "I'm going to start doing fly kicks like them." I mean, these people have probably been doing it since they're about 5.
Aye, but I think whenever you joined, you would have started and done your own thing, or been at your own level, on reflection, but there is an intimidation factor when you're looking and you're going, I'm not getting to that stage. Like, there's no danger of getting to that level. So I think I'll just leave it, call it quits today.
So the guys are like doing splits in the air. It's like I can't even lift my leg higher than my bloody waist. You know what I
mean? So I struggle climbing stairs. No, I get that. I think it is one of the things when you see somebody as disciplined as that, or people as disciplined as that, you're like, I've not got that. I've not got the coordination or commitment to do that. So maybe best to pull it at that point rather than wasting any further time, I'd imagine. So moving on for sports and that, I only really have, I wouldn't call it a hobby. It probably is a hobby. Sorry if I've offended anybody, but I was quite into like Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, right?
I didn't know where to go with this there.
No, I was like, I need to get this out because Gary's going to start laughing because he's not sure what I'm talking about. What did you think I was going with?
I thought you were going to say paint your wee Warhammer, guys.
No, I'm not there yet. No, I'm not quite there yet. No, it's just still like staying in the vein of the childhood stuff and that. Like I had obviously, we grew up with cartoons and watching things and all that stuff, and I was probably one of the first people in our school aftercare that watched the show Yu-Gi-Oh. So when it came to whatever, because I watched it on Sky or whatever, but they must have started showing it on something that other people were watching, because I think I had watched it. I had a routine like on Saturday mornings. They would show wrestling at some point on Sky One, so I just used to have Sky like on quite a lot when I was playing with wrestlers and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went into aftercare, it was before the playing cards actually came out. There was like a group of kids sitting and they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but with playing cards. So it doesn't really work, right? But essentially what they were doing was just trying to they were putting cards down and saying that was this card, and it was just basically, it was almost playing out what was happening in the show, so really anybody that was watching it was more advantageous to them because they knew different things. So I'd seen them kind of playing, and I went over and because I knew about certain cards, I started taking them to task with these fictitious cards, and I was never beat this made up game that I controlled the rules to, because I knew all the cards. But basically what we'd managed to do was we were using like real cards and real things that were happening in the episodes, and trying to like counter them and stuff like that, and do different things and whatever else. And it was weird because I wouldn't even be playing, but they'd come to me to ask me what the outcome was. Stuff. So they were just like, oh, I've got this and I've got this, and does that beat that? And I had to decide whether it would win or not win. It was so weird, right?
I just imagine like a 9-year-old Sean like, I've got this jiggly wiggly, and Sean like, no, this red dragon's beating you.
That's it. I had the puzzle piece, and no, I didn't have the puzzle piece. No, I didn't have the Yu-Gi-Oh puzzle piece. So obviously this is predating the cards, right? I have to keep prefixing that, but obviously the whole thing of the first season, Yu-Gi-Oh without making this a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, the whole idea is that there's Exodia is like the kind of the master, sort of the Egyptian god of the kind of first season, and the idea is that if you have all the pieces of Exodia, you can summon them, and it's basically an instant win. You win, you just destroy everything. So that's how I won this boy his first game. So I was like, because the other boy had done something, I was playing stuff, and I went, oh, he plays Exodia, and that's it, right? So it was kind of like, he plays the best card, and he's won. So we started making it a rule that you had, because it's playing cards, but basically you had to have like 5 hearts in your hand, and that would be your Exodia. You play these 5 hearts. So that's how we done it. And believe it or not, it didn't happen as often as you would think. but that's obviously because of the amount of cards, and obviously you're playing with half a deck each, so it was mixed enough. But there was this one time, I'll move on in a second, I promise, right? But there was this one time, this boy was really good, right? Really good at this made up game. Like, I must keep repeating. There was this one time, and I knew this boy had me beat. I wasn't winning this game, but more importantly, I also knew that his mum comes to collect him at 5 every day. So I was playing as slow as I possibly could, and there, just like clockwork, his mum shows up at 5, and MrMac is still the Yu-Gi-Oh! Aftercare champion. You have to deploy any tactic that you can. Obviously, just as I was leaving Aftercare, the cards did actually start to appear. However, only in Glasgow could you get them, and only in Japanese could you get them. So still, we didn't know what we were doing, and I was the only one that brought them in, and I stupidly put 2 cards in the same slot. I thought I'd lost some of them, started accusing people that they'd stole them, and then we get Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards get banned, right? So I was the rise and fall of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Ibrox Aftercare, right? So round of applause for MrMac.
Congratulations.
Champion. But you did bring up, obviously, my other outsider games hobby, and that was obviously the painting of the Warhammer stuff, which was, I actually never ended up painting them either. I'd made them, I'd kind of glued them all together, but that was probably near the end of the craft kind of hobby stuff. I obviously did other things before that. Did you do any of that kind of stuff?
Nah. That kind of time, that you were a bit older then, weren't you? You were
I was
like 16. I was working. That time I was just into gaming and listening to music at that time.
Films.
Girls. Films. I used to go to the cinema like once a week.
Gary owned every film. He did a room full of films.
My wife used to work in the cinema as well.
That was good.
That was my girlfriend at the time. So we used to get in the cinema for nothing all the time. We would go like once, if not twice a week. Just depends what was on. I seen it was one of the Batmans I seen like 4 times.
I went one of them times as well. It was good, man. We just kept going back. Loved it.
But I was a big movie guy. Shaw's right. I probably had about 2,000 DVDs at one point. It was mental. And I've seen a lot more films than that, you know.
It was good. Getting to go actually, because we did see a lot. We've seen a lot of stuff that was a lot of rubbish as well, to be fair. But listen, you were gone as frequent as that. It didn't really matter. Plus, it was generally when Siobhan had finished her shift, so it was always like later on. That was actually probably one of like the kind of first times, because I'm sure we went during the summer, just before the end, just before like, because we're still at school, I'm sure at that point. Because I'm sure we went in the summer of like our 6th year at school. I remember that was like one of the first times because we were out quite late, and I was quite like close to my house all the time, like growing up. So I was never like away out at like places like Escape or things like that for movies and stuff. So it was probably one of the kind of first times that you're like, oh, this is a bit kind of growing up, you know. Obviously, well, Siobhan's working, but it's just it did feel that way. It was quite strange, but it was good though.
Yeah, it was good. That was for people who were like 16, 17 year old. It was absolutely perfect having a pal at Wilton. We actually had 2 pals at Wilton Neodyne at that time. So there was just constant like freebies, man. It was amazing. What a time! What a time to have somebody working in a place like that.
Aye, it's perfect. Strange thing though that it's just one of the things that you never really think about doing anymore is the cinema. There's just no quite as much a draw to go for me as much as what there was back then. You would go and watch anything back then, but now it's merely an event.
Yeah, definitely. It's for the big movies that you really want to go and see into it. You're not interested in seeing like just movies that you're not really that bothered about. No, you'll just wait till for Netflix or something.
I'll get that's a DVD. That's a DVD.
Aye, exactly.
If even.
Aye.
So, so we were talking obviously about the hobby craft stuff is probably the term. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's the one I'm using. And I had kind of started on those like the plastic planes, like the wee planes and wee helicopters and stuff. I actually remember the first one that I'd got when I was like putting it together, and I'm like, is this it? That's totally like it was so small. There was like a wee plane, and I made a wee helicopter, and honestly, like you were lucky if they were like the size of like a key fob that you would use to like open your car. They were so small. So I kept thinking to myself, like, I want something bigger than that. So the whole like, because when I was doing these, like, the idea is obviously you have to do it and paint it, but you were getting those wee tiny wee tube, tubs of paint. You know, I'm talking about the wee cylinder shaped ones that you would get in like stuff like paint by numbers and all that. That's the kind of sets you were getting. It was like cheap rubbish paints. So I kept like looking up, like, right, I want to take this to the next level. I want to prepare stuff, like get it, prime it, do all the right stuff. So I get my mum to buy me this set of this aeroplane. It was huge, man. I tried to do it loads of times. I don't know how many times I tried, but I would take this set out, and it would honestly, Gary, I'm not joking, man. There was about 6 sleeves, 6 A4 size sleeves of this thing, right? And you're trying to, an A4 is a size of a normal regular size piece of paper. If anybody's doesn't know, right? So there's a lot of pieces on this, and there's wee tiny. Everything's grey, so you can't even see it. And even if you wanted to, you can't see nothing. And everything's got its own number, but it's tiny, right next to the thing. So it was a struggle even just to find the pieces. So anyway, the idea was you're supposed to get your wee, because you can't just push them out and start them out because it might pull, because it's all plastic, but it's like injection molded on us for the most part. So there's like wee parts that are holding your items in place to these sheets. So you'd have to get like a set of pliers or snips and just like snip off the plastic, and then you're supposed to sand down the wee points, and then you're supposed to rough up the actual plastic a wee bit so that you get a key when you're painting it. So all the wee people looked like faceless fucking morons by the time you'd finished actually like sanding everything to make sure that you could get like a key into this face. So anyway, you're making all these parts, and it wasn't until like, I don't know, 2 months after I got it that I started looking at the box, because they want you to paint it as you go, right? So I'm looking at this box and I'm going, right, well, when I eventually finish this, I'm going to put the bottom half, and all the wee pieces are going to go inside it. I'm going to put the top half on, and all the wee pieces are going to be inside it. And then I'm going to glue it all together, and all these pieces are still going to be inside there where nobody's ever going to see it. I as well just taking all these pieces out of the thing, glue them all together, and stick them all inside it, because nobody's ever going to see. So in the end, I did none of that, and it just gathered dust until eventually I flung it out. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I think what tipped me over the edge was we went to go and see a good friend, Ryan. His dad is right into it. And I seen like what he does, and I just went, fuck that. Nah, no for me. Too much.
No, his setup is unbelievable. Like, it's such a good setup. He's got magnifying glasses and lights, and looks like an operating theatre, doesn't it?
Talk about operating, man. He had an operational tank. He was shooting bullets at us.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Took it out the front of his house. So he's driving this thing that he'd made, and I'm looking at it going, fuck off. Nah. Nah, I'm not for this. Went home, put my tweezers in the bin. Well, the drawer for other uses, you know. So that was the end of my hobbyist career. Outside of I did one last master build out of balsa wood when I did my college HNC for CAD. We had to make an operational thing, so whatever it was you were designing, and I made from balsa wood this avatar arm that worked through syringes and stuff, and that moved and slid up and down this. Pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I actually really did enjoy making that for the most part, but after that, it's not really something that I've seen too much traction of in terms of what I was really interested in. I was obviously drawn to the Warhammer side. Had grand dreams of me and you doing different conquests over the dining table, and not once did I complete any one of the models because I looked at the price of paint and thought, nope, too much. Yep. So that actually only got flung out, believe it or not, because it was sitting in my better half's boot for years, man. And eventually we just flung it out. We just literally flung it out this year, actually. So all these models that I built, no, actually never get used once. So
they're in a scrapyard somewhere.
Aye, that's exactly half built. Aye, coming to life. No paint whatsoever. Not ideal whatsoever. Aye, not great. So on the run, obviously we have myself moving on to Twitch and stuff, but I think I'd rather park that because again I've spoke enough about these hobbies outside of games and whatever else and growing up. Do you have anything else before we move on to your grandest of grand hobbies?
No, not really. No, I didn't really have much in the way of hobbies when I was growing up. As I said, I was just more interested in music and movies and gaming and girls. But no, I'm happy.
Aye. So then for the painting side of things then, obviously we've kind of briefly maybe spoke about this before. I think we might even have mentioned it on one of the earlier episodes, maybe the first episode of the Vault Dwellers podcast, but Gary's only really been painting since the start of 2020 really, wasn't it? I thought it was 2020. Is it not?
No, I think it's 2021, I think. Sure, it's only been a year. It's only been a year.
So it has. Forgive me. You're right. Yeah. So 2021 was the very start yet, because it was a Christmas gift for the actual paints.
Yes.
So what kicked it off then? What was the real spark behind it? Because you don't just go, I want a fancy paints. Like, there must be something before that, or were you sketching stuff, or what was the?
I think I've always kind of liked like art, even just drawing. I'm no great like to actually drawing in pencil and stuff like that. I could doodle, but I can't like draw actual pictures. But I've always kind of had that I would say artistic flair. I always kind of look at stuff and think like, oh, I like that colour, or I like this, and you just look at a picture and you know if you like it or no. That's what I always say when I go to museums. Me and my wife go to we went to Rome, and we go into all these art museums, and like she just goes right past the art, she might as well just be looking at the flare. And she just she wants to go to like the statues and like the kind of like stonework and stuff like that. Whereas I'm looking at the paintings and I'm like, oh, look at this and look at that, and but yeah, I've just always kind of had this wee artistic I suppose.
Aye. So do you think that, because the first time I'd seen that your kind of output, I would probably say would be the infamous pumpkins. That's probably
that's a good. I didn't even think of that. That's
the first time I'd seen them.
Yeah, actually, it was maybe maybe about 5 years ago. I started doing pumpkins just for Halloween. Not just randomly. For Halloween, I started carving pumpkins, and I just kind of for the first one, I kind of got a stencil, and it was just an easy. It was like Jack Skellington or something like that, and I used a stencil. And then the next year, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to draw something myself and just cut it out and see if it works. And I did a lot of Frankenstein and whatever else I'd done. Can't really remember. I've did loads now. And I was quite shocked, when I posted them. I was like, that's quite good. And then I posted them, and it like pure blew up on my Facebook. Like everybody that was on my Facebook was like, whoa, that's amazing. I'm like, is it? I was like, I just thought that was just like, for me, I just felt like that was a normal thing to be able to do.
No,
Like, I can't explain.
I can't even cut fruit properly, never mind carve a pumpkin properly. So it was definitely a step up. I think a lot of it was kind of like, well, Gary done that, because you didn't really have any indications that you had any kind of interest in art whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. I do you know, it was. I've sold this story before on the podcast, but I might as well just say it again since we're here. You know, like in high school, in our high schools anyway, you get to do art for your first 3 years, and like I had a teacher that was just like, Gary, just don't bother taking art. Like, just don't even bother. She was like, you've no go to it, and I was wanting to take art as well. I was
Aye.
like, I quite like this, and she's like, no, just don't do it, because and I don't know if you were the same, but my class was just all drawn with a pencil. We didn't do chalk, we didn't do paints. It was just purely draw a picture of an elephant, draw a picture of
It must
whatever.
have been you governed folk, man. We were allowed paints. No, you definitely get use of paints.
But in your class it was just pure pencil stuff. So when you when it was going to go and pick your subjects, you know, say to tell teachers like, oh, do you kind of talk to your teachers? And I was like, I want to pick art, and she was like, nah. I was like,
yeah, I always found that was quite strange that they did that. Like, I had that with one of my classes. I don't know what it was, but one of my classes, they're like, no. I mean, what?
yeah, it's pretty bad actually, isn't it? Like, imagine going to a teacher and saying you want to do this subject, and they just turn around like, no chance. You're like,
Aye.
oh, all right then, I'll just go and take something else then. So that's what I end up doing, you know. I didn't argue, too young at the time, you know. You think the teachers do the best for you when in these circumstances they're not really. So I just took something else, and then that was that. Just fell away from art until, as you said, maybe the pumpkins, and that's when I started to actually bring out my wee crafting side. I think also another thing is I used to buy art for a local kind of guy that lives around Glasgow. So I used to buy his art as well, and I've kind of followed him and used to like his stuff, and kind of telling like use like yourself and like Ryan and stuff like that. I was kind of like, oh, you should see this guy's work, he's really good. So just kind of supporting a local artist, but always looked at the pictures, and I was always like, you know, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
No saying they were crap or
No.
like
It's just like you look at them going, I would have I think I've got the ability to be able to produce that kind of thing. I think one of the things that maybe set your kind of flaring interest in that, I would maybe atone to the idea of like your tattoos and stuff like that as well, because I think yours has quite a style to it that you're kind of drawn to that kind of style and that kind of artistic thing, like especially your early ones. You know what I mean? You know what you like, and there is that artistic side to it. So obviously when you're researching and looking up tattoos, that was probably one of the most fundamental blocks to what you do now is the painting side, because you used to kind of research and look up quite in depth, you know, when you were looking at a tattoo idea. So I do say there's some sort of link in there maybe.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially for your first tattoos, you know. Like my first tattoo, like I totally basically I didn't draw it, but I said to the woman like, I want this and this and this, and you know, she just drew it all and did it. And
show
then
the
I
audience
added,
what it is.
there you go.
I can see your brain going, but they won't see it.
But no, you're right, because I've still only got a half sleeve. I've been doing this sleeve for about 10 years, but I kind of got all of them in quick succession, and I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew it was going to start with this specific tattoo, and then I was going to add another one. That's what I did, and then I've just not got to the end of it yet. But no, you're probably right. I never even thought of that either, but that is probably another reason. It just shows a wee bit of an artistic side of me, I suppose.
Aye, there's definitely two connecting points there between because there's one thing to research it, but there's another thing to like actually craft the idea of a sleeve under different pieces, like as opposed to seeing somebody else's sleeve or making it like, oh, I'm going to have just for example, you know, a Star Wars sleeve. I watched something on TikTok the other day, and it was pretty good actually. It was, you know, Palpatine and Vader and whatever else, and the kind of two kind of Jedi's fight, or Jedi in that fighting in the middle. It looked really, really cool, but that's for me not quite what you were doing. Like, you were picking pieces that were very similar-ish in style, but varied quite a bit, and putting them together. And it was quite impressive to see. And I do remember, obviously, when you started highlighting, obviously it's Chris Oatsey, the artist in Glasgow. If anybody's looking them up, we have a gigantic painting in our living room. Myself and the better half. He's fantastic, as Gary says. So he's right in what he says. He's not knocking the boy, saying, "Oh, I could do that," in a cheeky way. It's probably inspiration.
Definitely. That's even when I started this, I think it was about my maybe third picture in or something like that. He liked it. He liked my picture, and I think it was just totally random. He just liked my picture, and I was like, I just messaged him, and I was like, "Thank you so much for liking my stuff." I was like, "You were totally the inspiration for me even get started on this journey." And I just wrote this full big thing about it, and he just messaged back and he's like, "That is like the biggest compliment I've ever heard in like the full years."
It's so cool if he just rises back on, "Cool, mate."
Cheers, thumbs up. He's like, "Get away from me, you weirdo blob."
Stealing my customers, will you? That's nice though. That's nice that he said that.
He's been so supportive as well. I was asking him questions and asking him about like paint and asking him about other stuff, and he's not one of the people. It's like that, like you're saying, like he's not like I'm not telling you this is my trade secrets. He was just like, this is what I do and this is where I get this way, and he was just telling me, and it was so nice to just have somebody that inspired you, that actually like just wanted to share the knowledge with you. But so I was during COVID, like everybody tried to get a hobby.
Aye.
So my mum was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Just do I eat, don't bother getting me eating." And she's like, "No, I really I want to get you something." And I was like, "Right, okay." I was like, "Well, do you know what? It's never something I was going to buy myself." I was like, "Why don't you just buy me an easel, some canvases, and I'll just get some paint." So she bought me brushes, paint, whatever. As Mods Day, they always go mental.
Aye.
So that year I had a full easel, had all the canvases, had everything to go. And then in January I just was like, I was looking up YouTube videos. I've wanted to start with Star Wars. I always thought I want to do stuff. I want to paint stuff that I want to do. It has to be a passion to at least get you started and figure out how to paint. So, I was looking up a few videos and stuff, and I found this one. It was a Darth Vader picture. And it's a bit different for mine. I copied based it because it was a tutorial. That's a full tutorial piece. My first Darth Vader picture.
Cheat.
It's funny. See, when I actually posted that, I didn't post that for about 2 weeks because I was like, I don't know if I can post this because it's no my original idea.
No,
and then it was my wife. She was like, "No, but you painted it." She's like, "You still painted it. It's nobody came and painted that. You painted it." And I was like, "No, you're right." But anyway, so it's the same but different. It's got similar bits, but the Darth Vader, no, it's completely different and whatever else. But yeah, that's what started it all off. I just wanted to do something that I was passionate about and just wanted to learn, and that's kind of been me on this trajectory ever since. I'm about a year and a half in, and I've painted, I think I counted it last time, I think I've did 26 paintings so far, which is quite a lot. I was surprised when I counted it.
Is that you counting your Easter eggs as well?
Yes. And it's got paint on it. Well, actually, what I painted there was Magnolia. That's counted a canvas.
It's got in my portfolio.
So 26 paintings in so far, and it's been such I do love it. It's a hard hobby. You need to be focused. There's nights that you're just like, I'd love to paint. You're just like, I just cannot be asked. Like, I'm not in that heat space tonight for this.
I'm sure there was a good gap in at one point between where you'd had, you were it seemed to be like you were kind of knocking them out almost weekly.
Yeah.
You were in almost like a factory-like state, and then I think
got a PlayStation 5. That's what happened.
I was going to say it was towards the end of last year,
and
it was just a big gap, which nobody can really blame you, because as you say, you have to have that passion, that side to you to be able to actually create.
Yeah.
Or be inspired to create, no matter if somebody was actually asking you for them or anything like that. It's just no there. The drive isn't there. Before you go on, if anybody is listening and they haven't seen, just go to Instagram, Gary Moore's art. If you haven't seen any of the paintings that we're speaking about, there's a lot of good. I think the links are actually below in the YouTube videos already, but make sure you check the videos at the Star Wars picture is near the very front. If I remember, I'll try and
this is that first one. Yeah, should be first one.
Put a link direct to that painting. But obviously, you did a few Star Wars ones, and then started going more towards kind of portrait stuff and that as well.
Yeah, I was I was so surprised. I did like the Star Wars one, then I did a kind of another Star Wars one, Boba Fett picture, and then I did another Star Wars one, and then after it, people started going, can I commission you to do a painting? And I was like, what?
How weird was that? Like to start with?
So strange, man. And it was the pressure that I put on myself. I was like, to my wife, I was like, this needs to be good. Like, I cannot see. Like, I was like, if this is anywhere near just mediocre, it's gone in the bin. And that's the pressure. That's the pressure I put on myself. But you know what I'm like with my painting. If I'm not happy with it, then I just just a perfectionist. With my paintings.
Poor Jerry Simmons' face get redone about 10 times for that painting.
I literally did. I painted it like 3 times, and I painted right at the top of it. Just put grey right at the top of it again, and just started again 3 times to get it right.
That's a kind of. An act itself, you have to be happy with it. You're as soon as you hand that over, you don't have the ability to change it anymore. It's not digital. It's nothing that you can't go into the house and touch it up for them. Like you have to be comfortable that that other person is actually going to be happy with it. Know that you're happy with it. It's the idea of this person see flaw in what I've produced for them because they've gave me money for that, which was the other thing I was going to mention. Obviously, like a lot of people probably will, I don't know, they'll probably understand where you're coming from with this, but you had a hard time even just trying to work out what to charge.
Yeah. At the start, totally just charging for materials. Even still, I still don't even. I'm pretty much still not really making a profit.
That's because I keep getting you to paint stuff, and we established the mates rates very early on.
I always say to Sean, I laugh, and she's talking about my art and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, it's a non-profit organisation. We
are a charity, and charity begins at home.
A lot of times I was just basically this is paying for my hobby. That's all it was. The money I was getting for that was literally paying for the canvases and paying for all the paint and new brushes if I needed new brushes. That's literally all the money I took for ages. Even still,
I do a similar thing with Twitch and stuff. Any time there's a payout, I always make sure that it's something in relation to the stream or whatever.
Aye. And do you know what? It's good because it just funds that hobby. And it. I've never really had to pay for any of my paints or my canvases out my own pocket. It's always been after a commission, and it's just buy all that. So I've never actually really been. I've never been negative through this full hobby, which has been amazing. But it's good. It's good because then you just get this kind of constant. You've got stuff. I've got all my paints. I've probably got about £200 worth of paint.
Yeah,
which is mental. Just to think on paint, I've got about £200 worth. Brushes, I buy brushes every kind of 3 months, just because they start getting frayed and all that, and I want them nice and precise. So no, it's really good. It's a good hobby to have, and it was so weird when people started asking for commissions. And it still doesn't feel real, Even a year and a half in, people ask, and I am definitely more confident at taking them on.
Yeah.
But it's still never it's never no strange when somebody actually asks, can you do this picture? And it's humbling, I suppose, is the word.
Do you still get people, because obviously I think it maybe originated, obviously we were asking for stuff to start with, family and stuff, but a lot of the one, I think maybe the one that surprised you the most was people at your work had asked for one or two of them. I can't remember if they'd commissioned something or if it was something you'd painted and they wanted something similar. I don't remember the exact story in that.
So one of them I did. I actually can't remember what picture it was, but I painted it just randomly, and they bought it.
The couple with the leaves, the trees. I know you did one.
No.
I know you did one for your mum.
I was for my mum, that one. The other one was for Ryan's mum. She bought the other one.
Aye.
For my work, it was that was strange because I suppose I'm quite private for my work. I like to keep my work as my work and my life, my personal life as my personal life.
Aye.
I have friends in work, but I don't go out with them. If you like, I have my own friends and I have my work friends, kind of. So it was kind of weird when the kind of worlds were colliding, and a couple of people in my work were getting commissions and stuff. And then, like, I took one of them in. And gave her it. And she was pure parading it about the work.
Aye.
Showing everybody. And I was like, I am so embarrassed, but it's a good embarrassed. It's a good embarrassed, but it's I'm no a social butterfly in that kind of way, for me that's an embarrassing thing, but it's, as I said, it's a good.
You're like, hide it.
I'm like, put that away.
You want to meet them by the boot of their car and stuff like that. Like, just open the boot and I'll slide this in, and you can look at it when you get home.
Dodgy dealings, I'm telling you, that's what I prefer. But it's a great hobby, and I would honestly tell anybody to try it. I have to say, it is quite an expenditure at the start. Obviously, I didn't pay for most of my stuff because I got it as a present. And then when the commission started coming in, as I said, I've not really paid for anything. But it can be expensive. I think just talking to people, see if you, for example, wanted to do it, like just talking to me and just asking me about what I do and what brushes and stuff, because that's totally different as well. The different brushes do different things, and coming from an amateur's background where I had even touched a paintbrush in my life, watching YouTube videos and try to learn what different brushes do, and I've probably watched in the last year and a half probably about 100 hours of painting.
Aye.
Which is mental,
It's a strange thing. Obviously, I have a rough idea in terms of the brushes and stuff, just with a small amount of the kind of Photoshop stuff that I've been messing about with. It's probably actually almost since you kind of started doing that, and I had a lot of kind of links to Twitch through the work that I was doing and other stuff that people were doing online through the Twitch and Twitter community with Bennett, Please Be Excited and stuff with the Photoshop things. When you pick up Photoshop, you kind of quickly realise that there is loads of different things and different brushes and styles and all these different tools. Obviously, not to say that the digital thing is anywhere near like the actual painting it, but just meaning in terms of there's loads of different options and things that make a big difference that you probably don't realise for the outside.
Yeah, definitely. And the good thing with the painting is the more you do it, the more confident you become. At the start, I mean, as we kind of mentioned, like mental health is a big part of mine and your lives in the recent years, and I definitely did it as a way to combat the mental health side of things. So when people started asking for commissions, it was very stressful. And I was like, I'm trying to do this to help my mental health, and also there was pressure and stress on me as well. because you're just learning as well.
It's a creative outlet, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it must have been hard though, because you've got like this thing that you're like, I want to paint, I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden it's like, but can you do it for me and this other thing? And you're like, well, I don't really. I mean, I remember the obviously that one, the Maradona one that nearly killed you when you were doing the crowd over and over again.
Yeah.
Like that's not a passion thing, so it starts to become like the PlayStation probably played the biggest part in that gap, that part when you kind of took a break for it. But you must have been experiencing some sort of form of burnout, in terms of I've had enough, I've done enough at this point. Just now.
And do you know what? Art's a luxury item as well. What I had a spate. I like doing what I wanted to do, and then it came into like I was like commission, and then the commissions kind of went away, and I was like, I don't really feel like painting because I've just did so much commission work.
Aye.
So yeah, a wee break was definitely needed. And that time, I still had ideas. I've got like a jotter upstairs that I jot some draft wee ideas that I want to do. So I was always doing that. I just have whatever. I'll be watching a movie or watching a TV series, and I'm like, I want to do this, and it'll be like this scene and whatever else, or whatever. So I do have a wee book of ideas that I always want to get through. But yeah, the PlayStation also. I got a PlayStation 5 as well, which also didn't help. But yeah, no, I probably did have a wee bit of burnout for the constant commissions, but it's no something that I would be like, I don't want a commission. I've got a commission now, and I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange when it was a passion project that turned into a small, no, even that I wasn't even a business. It isn't even a business, it isn't a business.
No, it's a hobby, a profitable hobby. It's just something that you can kind of lend your hand to. That keep. It's nice to have because it adds a wee bit of value to it and worth to it. You can always look back and go, I have sold paintings. I've been commissioned. By all rights, you're an artist. Nobody can take that away from you. That's just what it is. You have been commissioned to do art, and I think the biggest one that got me, it was just, I still think it's funny seeing it to this day. But when you messaged to say that like Joe had messaged you to ask to buy that painting, I'm like, what? Like obviously you see it as soon as you the Joe Medforce. If you don't follow Joe, it's at Joe Medforce on Twitter and things. But if you look at that Instagram post again on Gary Moore's art, when you go and look at that, you see it's obviously the Mandalorian one, with Grogu in the picture, and then the silhouette stuff in the background, and you just painted that for you. And he wrote in the comments like mine, like big capital letters, mine kind of thing. And it's funny to see that because again, that was like, for me, that was like my world's colliding almost. I mean, with this person that I've met, this friend I've met online through Twitch, has bought something for like my IRL friend here. You know what I mean? It's so strange.
No, it definitely is strange. I mean, I'm obviously pure thankful for anybody that purchases my artwork, and it's as I said, it'll never get strange. People asking for my commissions or asking for pictures, or I just like that. Like I just painted that randomly one day, and it just obviously spoke to him, and he seen it, and he was like, "That's my picture." And
that's what was really weird about it. It's like he didn't ask for it. It's just you've created that. You see that all the time, obviously, and Chris's works, as we spoke about earlier. He'll maybe do like 10 pieces of art or whatever, and maybe take some places and he's selling them, and people are like, "Oh, I want that, I want that, I want that." I want to pick that out, and for you, for me anyway, when you were when you painted, I think that was maybe 3-4 months after that from the first paintings. So it was
Probably,
just still in its infancy, the whole art stuff, and somebody's like, I'm having that, like I will pay for that, please send me that. It was just it was weird.
Yeah, it definitely, it's a good confidence builder when stuff like that happens, and that's maybe something for this year to think about for myself. Like kind of maybe take that on approach when I've not got a commission piece, maybe just go back to the just doing what I want to do, and just if somebody buys it, somebody buys it.
Aye.
That is maybe something to go back to, because that's what I was doing at the start, purely just painting pictures that I wanted to paint.
It's a passion,
for
and
passion.
obviously is getting like a series, like because you're obviously Star Wars, so you had you'd Darth Vader, you'd Luke, Boba Fett, I think was the one after that, and then obviously Mandalorian. Like, so technically, by rights, you have a Star Wars series of paintings that you've created. So it's if it doesn't necessarily need to be something of that same vein, but if you were to think of like 3 or 4 very famous films and stuff that you were into that is popular and in pop culture, you would probably quickly find that people would be very interested in picking up that kind of thing. Like even there's no limit to that. It's down the line. You can you put it up and be like, oh, I've done these paintings, and then it's, oh, by the way, if anybody's interested, I'm looking to shift a couple of these. Like, it's not like cap and hand stuff. You're literally just saying if anybody's interested, and there's no limit. You can go again, the following year. Or look, I've amassed a few more paintings, and we've still got 1 or 2, and it just gets it out there because it feeds your hobby, your interest, your passion, and also gives you that outlet that might draw in some kind of additional worth. Because I think the worth is from you. It's the pride and the being able to escape, and as you say, that draw to that kind of mental health, that distraction, having that outlet, it does help.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I do love it. I love it. I would never go back. Like I said in the last episode. I said in the last episode, like PlayStation obviously has took a lot of the kind of no shine away from it, but just time away from it. But it's not something that I'm going to forget and just walk away from. It's something that I'm going to keep going back to, but it's such a, for me, it's such a good, it's good for my mental health because it helps you focus, build your confidence, and just gives you, as you say, it's worth is the word, definitely. You think you're just painting like daft pictures, and then before you know it, like people are following you on Instagram, like saying, "Wow, your pictures are amazing." And like I'm not a good person for out there and like try to sell myself. I'm just not that person, which I maybe should be more often, but I've just done on Instagram. I've probably got like 100 people following me on Instagram, but it's funny like when people start following you and. Like I've got a few art people that started following me, and they've got like thousands of people that follow them.
Aye.
And it's like, and they found me.
Aye.
And it's strange.
I found that I was even like proud for you, and just even seeing, like, I know that most probably a few people won't really know. I don't even think it. Alice or Sel would be listening to this, but Nerth Alice is quite a big digital artist in the kind of funny community that I kind of speak to, whatever, on Twitter, and seeing her like the painting that you'd done for me, the Witcher painting. Alice is a big Witcher fan. She's done a few different works, but seeing her like that, I was like, wow, I'm good on yourself. Like, it's because it's somebody that recognises art for art. You know what I mean? So just
it's like it's like a colleague, isn't it? It's like a colleague, it's like saying well done kind of thing.
It's quite a good thing. Just when Alice is lovely. She would support anybody doing that. She was an encouragement even just for me to do Photoshops and stuff. She does art streams where she's kind of sitting on an iPad and doing different stuff, different commissions and art pieces and stuff. So for me, when I seen that, I was like, I'm gonna try this. Got my, I had been given an iPad as a work gift, and I went away and got a pencil and started playing a bit with that kind of thing. So it's strange to see again that world's colliding type thing. Seeing you posting something like that and somebody that I know that knows art, going like, oh, that well in kind of thing. It was nice to see.
The digital art's another beast.
Well, it is a beast in itself, but you did take to it, quite well. I think a lot we would be remiss if we didn't mention our good friend, artist extraordinaire, the Penny Marvels.
Yeah,
when we
definitely
start speaking about even just the actual creation of art, I think probably speaking for you and him, he was maybe outside of maybe me and probably Mrs. Mac as well, the one of your biggest kind of cheerleaders and and getting you feedback and whatever else. But in terms of getting you kicked off in the right path for the digital side, especially with the comic book stuff, I think I would be remiss if we didn't mention Hoodie.
Yeah, definitely. Hoodie was definitely an influence for me. Kind of knew Hoodie through yourself, just playing games and stuff like that. Didn't really realise that he was such a talented digital artist. And I'm not really on Twitter. I've got a Twitter and stuff, but I don't really go on it. He was definitely an influence for me to even dip my toe into digital art, and I've literally only dipped my toe into it. I seen he started doing like wee comic books and stuff, wee comic slices, if you like, with no books. And just all digital art, and I just was like to him, how do you even do this? He was just another person that just had oodles of knowledge how to do this, and just gave me it all. And I was like, good, I'm going to try now. Thank you very much. And we've actually had a couple of collaborations together as well now.
Still baffles me. Does all this on his phone?
Yeah, that's crazy because I'm doing it on a big, massive iPad
with his finger.
Yeah, I do it with my finger as well.
On a phone.
He does it. He does it on a phone, which is crazy. But
I can't even text properly without making mistakes.
So I just decided one day that I was kind of, as I said, that my toe into digital art. I drew a skull and kind of a couple of other things. And then I just decided one day that I was just going to start my wee kind of comic strip as well. So I started a wee comic strip with Grim. It was called Grimace Reaperson, and he's just a wee Grim Reaper that kind of just his day-to-day life that annoys him, basically. I put him in scenarios that he kind of always gets annoyed or something gets annoyed at him. Again, that was a nice wee outlet kind of for my stress and like my anxieties and stuff like that, kind of just
all come together was good, when it's like building scenes and reusing assets and stuff like that. Was like seeing you and Hoodie like exchange things back and forward in those early days, because obviously like you'd created something and I think tried to send it and he's like, oh, you should be creating like on this, and try and make sure that you, when you're creating this scene, like have everything kind of layered on top of each other rather than like one scene, so that you can then take that and put it somewhere else and reuse it again. It's not like a painting; you can literally just copy and paste and then tweak it. I really liked particularly the earlier stuff because it was just class. My favourite one's still the one where he goes and visits the petting zoo. That's probably one of my favourite ones. And then obviously I'd kind of come up with the idea for the pineapple pizza one. He goes to the pizzeria and it's a special on pizzas, but the only pizzas are pineapple pizzas. So it's just that's funny, man. My better half's favourite one is the It's that one with the ducks where he's like feeding
that's
bread.
my favourite.
I love that one.
Yeah. I think I think it's 4 or 5 or something like that. As I said, I just kind of dipped my toe in it. Obviously, actually, then I paintings on the other side as well. Had paintings, PlayStation, and trying to do digital art. You're running out of time and trying to live a life with a family.
No,
and
the digital
work.
stuff had to take a backseat, especially when the PlayStation hit. It just something had to go. You have to see value, and it is an investment. A PlayStation, a thing like that, is an investment in itself. So when when we both got that, roughly at the same time as each other, it was just that's what we were doing. That's what we were playing. So the other hobbies, took a back seat to that because it's just something's got to give.
Yeah, again, like with Matt, like although I've not really did a lot of Grimace stuff, like if I have a wee idea for an episode, I write it down in that jotter. So I've got maybe 2 or 3 wee episode ideas that are in that jotter as well, but just actually getting around to do it. But I do like my wee Grimace character. I was like dead proud that I made him. He's just like a nice wee character, and to actually just have him and just be like I made this. This is mine. And nobody can take this away. If somebody wants to copy it, they can copy it. But I made this original wee character, and I know he's just a wee like cartoon.
He's a Grim Reaper,
He's just a wee cartoon Grim Reaper, but he's quite cute. And
you can see him down below actually on your screen just now. He'll be there on the YouTube video. He's on the desk in the corner on the table, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
that's right, his wee skull. That's right, his wee skull's on the table.
He's there.
He's just right there beside me.
Right there. Gary's pointing, but nobody can see us. So the fatal flaw: we can see each other with the software that we use, but we only put the audio up for now, just purely because we don't have backgrounds that like other people do. So stick to audio for now. But I liked that. I think I liked seeing that, especially on the podcast, and then like that we've been able to reuse it for a nod for us. It is forever. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It'll be there until the sites aren't there. And it's class to see. I really like it. I'm actually holding one of the stickers now because I keep meaning to put it on my beam machine, and I have one of them on my PC. But when you like got these made and thingy, that's class. It's something that you can hold. That's history, man. That is history.
Yeah. Do you know, it's something I seen one day, and it was like make your own stickers, and I was always like, I'd like to do that one day, and just never had anything to make. And then, as I said, when I made Grimace, I was like, I'm making stickers. I'm just getting stickers made, regardless. As I said, it's no for, and don't do any of this for profit or nothing like that. I don't sell them, or but I just got them all made, and I was like, I'm just making these. And as you said, it's just nice to just have something that actually like it's physical and you can actually see it and give away and whatever. I've actually been giving them away with my paintings. It's just a wee token, just to say thanks for buying a painting.
Joe had said that to me actually. He'd said about that he got, because I think you put a note in for him, and he'd obviously gave him one of the grimaces as well. It's quite cool to have something like that you can do.
Do you know what's funny? Like all my daughter watches me obviously paint these pictures because I do it in my dining room, and she never really comments and stuff. But see, like when the grimace, I was showing her all my grimace, and maybe they're a wee bit adulty because they do swear and stuff like that in some of them. But she actually loves that wee character, and that's so nice. It's so nice to think that like this wee silly character that she pure loves him. Like she laughs at like the cow one. And she's like, he took that cow's skin, and she just laughs at it. Like she's just got this wee dark humour, and she just gets it.
She does. I'm sure she's got a couple of episodes in her head for you, Gary. Make sure you don't let that go.
But she's it's funny. It's funny to think like all the art stuff that I did. Like my daughter like pure loves this wee character that I made. That's nice.
I'm sure if you started painting some some, I was going to say Peppa Pig, but she's well moved on for that now. But
Aye,
I'm sure if you paint some things
Disney.
that are a wee bit more her scene, she might be able to get it. Sure, she'll dance to Jerry Cinnamon, but I don't think she knows what it looks like.
But I finishing on my art, I would, as I said, I would implore anybody to try it. Doesn't matter what you think, like any sort of crafting or photoshopping, digital art, physical art, whatever, doesn't matter. I would say give it a shot, because the sense of pride at starting something and moulding it into something else and creating, you just, after it, you can just look back and go, like, I made this, and nobody can take that away from you. And it's just such a achievement to be able to do it. And yes, when you start, you'll be like, this is crap, and I'm not going to get any better at this, and this is just a fluke. All this kind of traitor stuff in your own head will come, because it does.
Yeah.
You know, one of the paintings that I did for you was one of my earliest paintings I did for Sean, was his God of War painting. And it was a painting that I did, and I think it was maybe my fifth painting, very, very early. Sean was in a nice adopter of my artwork and just wanted to be there for me. So I painted this Kratos painting for him, and I just didn't have confidence in it. I just didn't. And I painted it, and I was trying to do something different. I wanted to do like sort of landscape-ish stuff, you know. I wanted to do like mountains and whatever else, and trees, and because I was still learning. First time I ever did it in this. But seeing the painting, I actually wanted to put the serpent in the background.
All right, okay.
And I just couldn't do it. I just did not have the confidence to do it.
That would be really cool.
And it's something that when I see it, I go, I should have done it.
Aye.
But that's me, who's been a year and a half in it doing it. At that time, I just wasn't there. I just wasn't at that point. But it's one painting. It's one painting that I always look back on and think I should have done that. But I think that's a good thing. But because every other painting now, I'm like, I don't let that slide. Like, what was the painting? Remember you were looking at a painting, you're like, oh no, I think that's finished, and I was like, no, and then I did something to it, and you're like, oh no, that's 10 times better than what, I can't remember what painting that was.
I can't remember. There's a lot that you do that way. There was like one for the even the kind of Jerry Cinnamon stuff, like when it's like the kind of person on the stage type thing. Like there's some highlights and stuff that you like went and added to, like even just like the mic stand and that you know somebody like normally wouldn't see. You know what I mean? That it just wouldn't be the case. And then it's the same even with the Witcher painting, which I'm kind of looking at the wall at the minute. Like when I first seen the actual the beast that the Witcher's fighting at the time, when you first kind of showed me that, I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. And then the next thing you sent me was like completely different. Like the colours were completely different. And I think every time I look at it, I see like a different shade in it. Because it's just one of the things, like sometimes you just don't see it because it's just that much to look at. But as I'm looking at the three paintings like on my wall that you've done, it's weird. It wasn't until you mentioned it, but they are largely to do like landscapey kind of stuff, and I think there's some kind of beauty in that. Like I know I had kind of made the Fallout one and the Photoshop, because I think that was the very first painting that I'd like actually commissioned you to do, because you'd obviously wanted to do the God of War one for us. But in terms of like, no, I had an idea and this is what I wanted to do, and I'd quickly I went on Photoshop and edited a few things and sent it, and it's nigh on like perfect to what I had actually like outlined, like to say like this is what I have as an idea. But the way that I had it a wee bit more like I'm sure I had the Fallout guy a wee bit bigger, because I was wanting to focus on like him leaving the vault, whereas like you had that idea of making it more about the landscape of it. Like you could almost, paint over him and it would still be a really good painting. Like especially same with the Witcher stuff. Like you were thinking you were going back and forward and whether to actually redo the background of my painting and use that one as a separate thing because it was that good. The mountains and the scenery and that were that good. It was like, well, I don't really want to paint over this stuff with something else because it will detract from this like quality thing that you've done. Like my two pictures with mountains on them are right next to each other, and even the space of a year, you can just see the complete difference in between the two of them. It's class.
It's that progress shot, isn't it?
Aye, it's really really cool.
Do you know what? I'm quite happy with the Witcher one because, see, looking at it, I was looking at my pictures the other day when we were talking about doing this episode, and I was looking at it and I was going, do you know that? I think that just reflects Witcher so good because it is like a beautiful surrounding, but you're fighting a beast.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that just totally. I was like, that just totally like captures that. And I'm glad that I know I was going back and forward for ages about it, but I'm glad that I just stuck with it and just did it because it's a good picture if I don't say so myself. Unbiased opinion there.
No, of course no. No, you definitely need to toot your own horn in this world, that's for sure. But I look when we first kind of started speaking about it, like that was probably the one that we went back and forward on the most because we both had certain ideas, and in the end it probably wasn't even what either of us thought it was going to be because I think what drove it was because you were messing about with the kind of mountains and scenery shot, and by the time that was finished it was like, this isn't going to work in the vein that we want it to work in because I was looking for that. I think I wanted Merrick kind of over the shoulder shot with the beast being the biggest thing that your eyes would be drawn to, but obviously the way that we've done it, it's been the kind of best option because you can still see it in its full glory, and obviously you get that personal touch with the griffin armour that I used for my playthrough of The Witcher 3. That's what Geralt's wearing, so it's perfect for what we're looking for.
And the flames are 10 out of 10.
20 out of 10. It's so they would put it 10 out of 20. But it was good. It's strange when you look at it. It's because the paintings on there and progression on my wall. It's what I'm kind of looking at the minute. And obviously the one that you've done with just me as well. It's funny seeing that, just the progression over the year. It's mad, big difference, and we're not done yet.
Yeah, and that's what I love Instagram for that. Like all the social medias. Instagram's great because you just literally scroll down and it's just you see them all.
Aye.
And as you said, I can see the progression and just totally like. And what I felt as well, it's one of the things that like looking at a picture actually brings back some of the memories. Like Darth Vader, my first ever painting, the Darth Vader one. I remember like sitting like for about 5 nights just trying to do the sky, and I had a tiny wee brush, tiniest brush you could imagine. I was using, and I was just like doing wee tiny bits at a time. And now I always think, see if I painted that again, I would totally do it different. I would be using big massive brushes. I'd be doing this. I'd be doing different things. But
it's just look different, or would it just be the
probably? It'd probably be totally different. I would probably make Darth Vader bigger so I could put more detail on him and stuff like that.
Have you thought about doing that then?
I don't know where to do it again. I've still got that one. Actually, I love that painting. That's one of my favourite paintings. That was one that I had a kind of gallery in my hallway, and it was just all my pictures. and we did my hall up recently. So my wife was like, "Did all your pictures need to go back up?" And I was like, "No, it's all right." So I actually sold quite a lot of them, and I've still got my look and my Darth Vader one because I like to keep them because they're the little sister kind of painting.
Very close in style.
Yeah, so I like to keep them together, and that's it's one of the paintings that somebody was actually wanting to buy it, And I said no.
Oh, really? Nice.
The Darth Vader one. They wanted Darth Vader one, and I just said no. I was like, I just can't. It's a picture I just can't give away.
Aye.
It just kind of, that's what started the hobby,
Aye.
and it's one of my favourite pictures that I've done so far because I learnt so much on that painting.
Aye.
And it just, as I say, started the full painting hobby, and
Aye.
yeah.
I think you should do a Naughty Dog and do a remastered version. And then you can, whoever was interested, you can sell it to them or whatever.
Aye, it's a good idea. I'll just start making copies of it.
Aye, just copy it. Just be like, well, this is it, because it's a nice thing. It would be like how, I can't think of much else that would be able to show a direct, comparison in progress than creating something that you've done previously, and that would be the very first painting. Now, obviously, if you were to do it again and you end up creating the exact same thing, you can just put it in the bin and don't tell anybody, because I've not progressed in a year. Chuck it in the bin and nobody needs to know.
The last thing I'm going to say about my art is, do you know how weird it is when you go into somebody's house and you see your own paintings?
I can imagine it.
It is the weirdest thing ever. You just look at it and you're like, did I paint that? I always kid on to my wife, like when we go to her brother's, he's got a few paintings that I've did for him, and I always walk in and I'm like, who did that paint? I'm like, that's brilliant, that painting, like, they're amazing. Like, and my wife's always just like rolling her eyes. I just say it to annoy her up, but it's the strangest feeling when you walk in and you just look and you just see your own painting and you're like I painted that, like. And you look at it and you're looking at it like with an artistic eye. You're like, oh, if I did that now, I would change that, and I would change this, and I would change that. It's funny, but once it's out there, it's there's no going back.
No,
but yeah, that's my hobby, painting. And as you said, years to come, and I'm definitely no stop anytime soon.
No, I've still got a wee bit of space here above my TV that needs filled.
You can just start to go on the ceiling after that.
I can't. I'll just get you here to paint the ceiling. Never mind putting stuff on the ceiling.
Sean Sistine Chapel.
So that's what we need to work towards. But there's definitely there's a few ideas that me and you went back and forward on in terms of games and stuff. I would still like to see you do a Ghost of Tsushima at some point. So that's obviously one that is high on my mind. And then obviously the Death Stranding was one that I was thinking about it at one point, and I still was looking for a Star Wars piece at one point. We were looking back and forward on the Fallen Order. So if the second game speaks as highly as the first game, and that could be the one that would maybe make the wall next. But that's good. It's good actually. It's so weird to be able to. I mean, it must be strange for you, even if I'm taking like a picture or something in like my room, like to be able to see like that my backdrop to my gaming is literally I'm sitting looking at 4 of your paintings.
Yeah, it's very strange. You never get used to it. I don't know how people like have pictures in like art museums and like they're all right about it. I don't know. I think I would just never go to my house again and just never talk to anybody again if it happened to me. I just
I
wouldn't know how to
painted
cope.
that. I don't know what you're talking about. I never painted that.
But no, it's great. As I said, it's a hobby, a passion project that I just completely fell in love with, and no stop me anytime soon.
No, that's what you want though. You need something that you're passionate about. Obviously, in terms of my hobbies outside of gaming, like this, a lot of mine still obviously, revolve around gaming. I kind of went back and forward on the whole kind of content creation side of things, probably since back when started working and you had a wee bit of disposable income. There's obviously you watch a lot of videos and stuff online and on YouTube and that, and the kind of let's play stuff was kind of growing, and with the advent of the PS4, where they had those integrated Twitch apps at the time, where you could create, you could just go live. They had those kind of built in, and when I seen people, I was clicking on them and watching people playing games, and there was a kind of Scottish guy that was playing Battlefield, I think it was, and I was typing using the controller, in his chat or whatever, talking to him. I can't even remember his name. Obviously, I must have had a login at that time, but I don't even think it was the login that I've in my name. I can't remember, but anyway, at the time, you're just kind of talking to him, but you're kind of thinking to yourself like, oh, I could never do that. I could never go and obviously I've been doing it now properly for about a year now, but Gary will know when I started doing it back, I don't remember the year, but a good few years ago, I started a YouTube channel and started uploading a few videos of me just playing games. Like I did a few Minecraft ones, but it's funny, they're still there on my YouTube channel, but if you go and watch them, it's like an old Mr. Bean film. There's no voiceover, there's nothing. I was too paranoid about putting my voice out there, which is such a strange thing to even think about, that when it's this YouTube video and I'm just looking at the stuff that I'm wanting to be speaking about and like shaking the camera to indicate that I'm talking about a specific thing. The first thing that I actually like created and put out there was a review of Far Cry, but I watched it. It's not on the YouTube anymore. I pulled it off the YouTube channel because it's terrible. It doesn't even make any sense. And I wrote it today. It was not even like I've recorded it all. Using a capture card and stuff. And because at the time I had a PC, but the PC wasn't very good, so I knew I couldn't stream using it. And I knew that I couldn't really do much. So I managed to find the right settings that I could record gameplay. So I started with like Hotline Miami, and I was doing them like one episode at a time in that. But like I would be playing like 3 or 4 levels, and then I went back to like watch some of the footage, and I must not have had like the settings properly. And like the episode, like level 2, like it was like all laggy and stuff. Like it was like terrible, which wasn't like recorded properly. So that was the kind of end of that, because I was like, well, I'm not going back to play that level. But you can't really do a let's play series when you've not got the second level to show people you're beating it kind of thing. Obviously, in hindsight, what I should have been doing is editing them properly. Like I was just like just hitting record and then just playing it, and then just hoping that full like 3 or 4 hours footage, somebody would be interested in watching that. But generally, if you're doing like a Hotline Miami game, you probably just want to be showing them maybe 1 or 2 funny fails, but ultimately somebody watching a let's play is wanting to see you successfully completing it, no the times that you didn't complete it.
Aye.
That's just but you're able to look at it like that now, but back then you're just like, oh, I'll just hit recording and do whatever. But it's that was probably, I'm sure that was after, because I think the first thing I was doing was, if you remember, I was playing like Trine as well. I'd done like Trine for a wee while, but again it was like no webcam, and like every now and again I would like put on my microphone but I wouldn't be speaking. I would just be playing the game, and I wouldn't really be talking unless like you jumped in and you were talking to me and I was just talking to you. But like sometimes like I would put the stream on and then I would just be playing the game, and then I'd be like, all right guys, I'm going to finish up, thanks for watching, bye. And then that was it. It was and nobody was there, so it's weird. Like, so I would give it like one person would come, and it was probably just you, because you're not promoting it, you're not speaking to anybody, you're not doing it, and you're actually just hitting the go live button. So you didn't really have like an appreciation for how many people were also doing that at the same time as you, or how many people above you were doing it better than you. So you were never going to get anybody watching unless you played something obscure. Like, because I know me and you, if you remember, it came and we went live from your house, and we were playing Helldivers.
Yeah, that's right. Remember that? Yeah.
And we streamed that, and there was like 2 or 3 people watching, maybe 3 or 4, I can't remember, but it was like people watching and like a couple of people chatting, and I was quite excited, but we were only talking, we were only on microphones, we were just typing in the chat with them. So they were just watching us play, and that's just not the right way to do it. It just isn't. You can't connect with people if you don't have the ability to, you know, speak to people. I had a big draw when I first started, because, you know, in terms of, you know, using a webcam and stuff. You know, on my Twitch channel, you know, you have the hat redemption, and a lot of people were buzzing about the idea that there's this box of hats and I'm putting on these different hats. So any clip that I was sharing with people had another level to it, because they're like, what are you wearing? Like, what is that? You know, because there's a banana hat or a poop hat or whatever. Like, it's just something. And it got people talking, like, especially like if somebody raided and you're putting on this kind of Scotland hat. It's this big, massive, oversized Jimmy hat, you know, with the Scotland tartan and that on it. It lets people know, oh, this boy's obviously quite clearly Scottish, and, you know, he's got a kind of fun side to him because he's wearing this hat, and it just kind of draws people in a wee bit. But there was still a lot to go into even just doing that. I mean, I remember there was loads of times that you know, because if you remember a few years before that, we did a lot of, when we played Fortnite, the first, you know, the second, third seasons, we were streaming that. But nobody was really watching, because I've just gone live. It was just like, they asked me live, and you're just hoping that on Twitter somebody's like, because I was obviously posting on Twitter like that, you know, live now playing Fortnite. But if I'm not talking to people, and you're not in like a community for that, like, because you're obviously, there's like people that will just retweet like Twitter or Twitch go live things, but they're just like bots and stuff. So you're not getting people like actually engaging or coming into the streams, and, well, God knows we weren't that good, so nobody was, who's going to want to come and watch us? So it was weird, but obviously I managed to get, I had obviously a lot of stuff already here in terms of the PlayStation, streaming for the PlayStation early on, which is using the PlayStation webcam, which I'd got through the VR headset anyway. And then I think I obviously just used the microphone that came with the headphones, and I think it was the start of 2021. Was it? I'm sure it was. Aye.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was. Aye, definitely was. I'd clicked on Ben's stream, and he was kind of doing a stream. I'm sure it was Call of Duty Warzone. And I'd known Ben from the kind of funny stuff. Ben obviously does a lot of Photoshop at Please Be Excited, and when I followed him, he followed me right back, and he was obviously quite, you know, kind of famous within our community. So it was quite weird just to have somebody else, like somebody following you back, that you kind of like, oh man, why would he be following me? But there's obviously, if you know Ben, you know that he's completely down to earth, so it doesn't go to his head like it does with a lot of other people. So I went into his streams a few times, and I'd noticed that the people who were there, they were there quite regularly as well, and they also were in the same places as the people that he was raiding, you know, which became like a kind of group of friends that then kind of encouraged me to start streaming. So when I was in like streams with them and stuff, I'd obviously mentioned that I think I would be quite interested to start streaming again, obviously because I saw how supportive that they were with each other, and I think when I'd mentioned it a few times, and Billy the Door, as you'll know as well, he was kind of in their streams, and I went to watch one of Billy's streams, and at the time he was hosting Joe and Joe Medforce. So Billy had went live, but it was when I clicked on his link, it redirected me to Joe, and I couldn't stop watching. He was playing Fall Guys at the time, the two of them were, but when I went in, see the welcome that you get, especially when like there was people in there that knew me from other chats, and they're welcoming me in and speaking to me as well. Obviously, Joe kind of quickly picked up on that they knew me, and so when Billy then mentioned that I was thinking about streaming, then Joe was like, "Oh, you definitely should," and he was, his kind of usual self, in terms of showing that encouragement to kind of go for it. So he dropped me a follow, and so did a few other people. And before I knew it, like before I'd even kind of started streaming, I was, up at 30, 40 people that were, looking to kind of support us on starting to stream. So try to plan that to start with was a bit strange, because I started to get a wee bit obsessed about the affiliate thing, because I was worried that if I start this, because obviously the kind of rules, stipulations for that is you have to have 50 followers, which I was getting close to by the time I was starting. And I just thought, if I've ever got a chance of doing anything with this Twitch stuff, now it's now. I'm not saying that I was like, oh, I need to do this because I want to make it. I'm not saying that. I'm still not saying that. It's just, if I've ever got a chance of making that affiliate, I need to make sure that I tick these boxes. So one of them is you need to stream for, let's just say it's 5 or 7 days. I can't remember. And you have to have a minimum amount of hours. I think it's 12. Again, I can't remember. And you have to have an average viewer, which was the one I was most worried about, of above 3. Now, thankfully, with a kind of close group that I had on Twitter, generally I did always have 3 kind of people. So as it was getting right close to the 7th day of streaming, I managed to get kind of over the 50 mark, I think, and managed to kind of hit affiliate, which I think is when I actually just started to relax and enjoy the streaming a wee bit more. Obviously, people when I tweeted out about being getting that affiliate thing, I put it kind of on Instagram and Facebook, which is generally where like my family and friends side are, as opposed to Twitter, which is people that don't know me. I put it on there, and a lot of people obviously then came over and started, kind of watching, because they didn't know that I was even trying to kind of do that. So it was quite kind of funny, because they try to explain to people like what it is. Cause you're like, oh, I go in and I play games and people watch, and they're like, oh, like, what else do you do? And I'm like, no, that's it. But it's no, it's no, because that's what I keep. Obviously, when we were doing like the first kind of round charity streams for Saving the World, which is obviously a mental health charity that I started looking at doing work for, but raising awareness for. Maybe a month or 2 into streaming is when I started looking at that. Something that had kind of happened in the Twitter community that I thought, I need to try and do something that's going to, help people. And that was, I'd already seen the charity before, so I clicked on there and kind of registered with them and done a charity event, obviously, which we probably go into on another day, but done a charity event and raised kind of over £1,100 for them that year, and continued to do stuff with other people even this year. So I think that's probably the biggest point of pride that streaming's brought. Like, obviously when I started, you don't think, right, well, I know how I don't know if everybody knows, but in terms of the payment kind of scheme, like, so when you're affiliate, you can start earning money through streaming, but you have to reach a cap first before you get a payout. I think it's $100, works out about £85. I think you have to hit that by a certain date on any given month, and then you'll get a payout. So, obviously I knew that in terms of the Prime subs and stuff, I obviously, I had friends that were consistently kind of giving me the Prime sub, even though between yourself and Ryan to this day, both kind of dropped that. But that's still like, I think now it was £2.50, it's maybe £2 or something, whatever it is, but that's as little as it is. So if you think about it as one person or two people, and you go, right, okay, well, it's one a month, so 12 months, that's 25, quid each, £50. You know what I mean? So it's you know that it's not a profitable thing. It's not the reason why I'm doing it, and it's not the reason why I still do it. But there was somebody that came in to the chat when we were doing a Fall Guys stream with a good friend of ours, Waxing Moon, and they dropped 50 subs very early into my kind of streaming. And if I'm honest, like that was probably one of the biggest things. I remember I was talking to you about that for days, weeks, because I still can't believe that it even happened. But that's what paid for this table, actually, because I wanted a better setup and something that was in it, but I was kind of holding back and doing it because I'd already outlaid money. I think maybe for I think it was the capture card was one of the things, and something else. So because I'd put money out already, I'm not putting any more money out. I'm just going to leave it. I managed to get a better PC from work. And all of a sudden I had this nice setup, starting to come together. But this idea that you don't kind of see is that you start to, like, I don't know, you start to kind of expect a wee bit, because you're kind of logging in, you're streaming whatever, and sometimes you're getting, when I was doing some of the horror streams, like there was 12, 15 people coming in and watching at the time, because I was doing it consistently three times a week. Friday was me and Gary stream, and generally it was a Monday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday. I was doing at least another 2 days of streaming as well, and bolstered by the 50 gifted subs. You start putting up sub goals, and it's like I've got 50, 60 people subscribed to the minute, because people were giving gift subs during the charity event. So you're sitting at an inflated number of subs. So as they start to drop, you're like, oh man, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong here? Like, why isn't they watching? Like, or if people are watching, like, why are they not talking? Like, is it something that I'm doing? Like, do I need to do something better? Do I need to look at what games I'm playing? Like, and like the answer, and ultimately, is, well, no. Like, you just have to enjoy it. You just have to log in and just enjoy it, and that's thankfully what I managed to do now. Like, I took a big kind of long break and then tried to get back into it, and my internet kind of plagued me for the longest time. It still does to this day, but not anywhere near as bad as what it was near the end of last year. But if I'm streaming now, thankfully it's like, oh, it's a Sunday, I'm just if the missus is watching something on the TV or whatever, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go and stream for a few hours, or through the week. It's like, all right, okay, it's 8 o'clock or whatever. I'll stream for a couple of hours and just play a random game. And thankfully, I've managed to now get to the point where I don't even really need that that many people to come in and speak to and go through different stuff with them, because you're just playing a game and somebody else is coming in and watching and having a quick catch up with you. That's for me. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think no, totally. Because I've through that full journey with you. You know, when I don't want to say rise and fall. That's not the right kind of words for it. But
Aye.
I was a sort of perfect storm as well when you first started, because it was obviously COVID and most people were in lockdown and whatever else, and it was obviously inflated numbers for that, and also you did the charity stream, so you got a lot of publicity for that, and and hurt is probably the word I would say. You were probably hurt it, like you were starting to, the numbers were going down, and you were like, why is this going down? Like, when I'm doing, if no more content, it doesn't really make sense. But I just think these things plateau, and as you were saying, you were trying to play games that maybe you weren't even enjoying just because you were maybe trying to be like, oh, I'll play this game and people will enjoy it and I'll bring people in, and then it just got to a point you're like, do you know what, maybe I'm not even enjoying this anymore.
Aye.
And it's got to get a point where I need to be the one that's actually enjoying this hobby. The other way around.
Exactly. And I think there's that many games to play as it is. I wish that I could just put any game on and just play it, and that is generally what I have been doing, particularly this year. But there's some games that I'm like, I don't really want to stream that, like Horizon. I don't want to stream that game. If I'm playing like say FIFA or whatever, I'm not really that bothered with that. But there's just games that I'm like, it's no a stream type game. But thankfully, with the Xbox, there's a lot on that does work for streaming. It does help that there's Game Pass there, and there's a different range of different games, so it just lets you try things out and see what kind of sticks. I think when you see like a lot of people now they get to a certain point and they start to expect people to always be there or always come in or whatever. So I think when it gets to the point when the numbers start to fall, it's hard to separate it and make sure that you're not tying your own worth, like we spoke about earlier, your own worth to that, because it's wherever you are at the point that you're at in your hobby, you have to just look at it in its entirety and go, fucking, I done it. At least I done that. At least I tried it. At least I went for it. I put, I put it on, and I sometimes sometimes it is hard when you're streaming and people are coming in and kind of talking away to you, whatever, and you're playing a game and you're kind of talking out loud, because it does obviously help. I don't like watching streamers that don't speak, but I find it difficult to speak just for the sake of it. But I'm getting better at it. I'm playing this game at the minute, obviously with the kind of truck and stuff, and I'm just speaking about everything that I'm doing, everything, just in its entirety, just speaking through everything. And I think that helps, because when people are like doing something, because I don't watch streams to watch them, I watch streams generally to have it in the background when I'm doing something. So just having somebody's voice is just sometimes it's quite kind of therapeutic, but it's just an absent-minded thing. Like, I don't want to hear like somebody like playing like a first-person shooter and all I can hear is boom, 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 or whatever. Like, just hearing them speak or whatever is just enough. Like, even though I'm not paying attention to the words, just the fact that it's there that's what I use it for. So I then have to make sure that, well, if that's the drive for me watching, what am I giving people to watch now, for me when I'm streaming. So I'm trying that, but there's times obviously when you finish, sometimes you can finish your streaming, it's like two people watching, there's some of the Friday night streams that we were doing, there's like 1 or 2 people, and you're like, you need to have a realistic expectation of your own content. Like, there's only 2 people, but so fuck.
Yeah.
What's it matter? It's, if it's 2 people and it actually turns out that it's only just me and you watching it, it doesn't matter. Like, people are doing other things. They're doing their own thing. They're playing their own games. Some of them are streaming themselves. I think you get that point where people like might be controversial, right? But people like supporting you to start with. They like showing you the support when you first start something. But to get consistent support of people, it's hard for people to show that support, and it's not a given. Like, it's not your given right to be supported by other people.
Yeah.
So when you're, when you're online, you're on your streams or whatever, and 7, 6, whatever, 10 people are watching you. You're like, oh, that's good. I've got 10 people, and it goes the opposite way and starts falling back down again. Like, it's not a marker on you, and it's not on them to be there. Like, it just is what it is. People live busy lives, so I think you just have to set your own expectations, and that's what I managed to do, thankfully, this round again when I've kind of get back to it this year. It's picking a game that I'm going to enjoy creating the content for and playing. Putting Outlast on, like, that was funny, man. Like, at the end of last year, putting Outlast on and getting the jump scares all set up and people using them, like, that's some of the best stuff. Playing the Resident Evil games last year with the jump scares on them, like, it's funny, but it's funny between friends.
Yeah,
well.
Exactly. It's fun for you and fun for the audience as well.
Aye. Yep. And just because if I play a game, if I was to put a horror game on right now and he'd be join, like, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy playing the game and the possibility that somebody might come in and have a wee catch up, or maybe somebody's watching, and it might make their night that they come in and they're having a laugh at you, fucking something up or whatever else. Like, I think you have to experience it first to actually understand, like, all right, okay, that it's not because they don't want to come because it's that I'm not good. It's not even that they don't want to come. Like, they would probably be here if they knew you were here and you were looking for somebody to be here, but they're busy, they're doing something else. There's nothing you can do about that. It's out of your control.
No, definitely. I think for me, for example, like, Twitch is one of the things. Like, I either watch Twitch like most nights, or I don't watch Twitch for like 3 months. That's the way I just consume it. I get like addicted to like watching this one person or whatever, and then I'll just not watch it for months and months at a time.
Yeah, I was watching because you still watch Miles. That's talk about Miles Away, who does RP stuff for GTA, and I was watching them again the day. I have a thing where if I'm doing anything, even like jumping for a shower, I like having something on. Mm-hmm. So my go-to is generally, like, if I've not got any podcasts on the backlog, I'll just put a Twitch stream on. Like, obviously I'm not standing in the shower like talking or even watching, but it's just it's just listening to what they're up to. The day, like, we had like washing to get put away, and I just like put on one of his. I wasn't even watching, but I just put on one of his streams and sat it on the counter and just sat and folded some stuff in that, because it's just listening to what he's up to. But the guy's been doing it for years. Like, I've only been doing it for 1 year, and he's found something that people are really interested in watching, and fair play to him and others that are managing to do that. I don't have that option just due to equipment and internet, probably, or I maybe would try out the RP stuff because it does interest me, but you just have to play with the cards you're dealt and to your limits. and just have fun with it, because it is ultimately a hobby. Like when I was even at the biggest point, when there's like, it's that kind of 60 people kind of number, I'm thinking to myself like, I'm going to try and push for 70. It'd be really cool to get up to 70. Like, but when you think back to yourself, you're like, I should probably never even have put any goal on, because it set a bar that was never there. It wasn't there. They were all gifted. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get retention. The people aren't going to come in. Like, I get gifted subs all the time. I don't go into the chats. The people that I've been sub to, I don't always go in. There's just it's just what it is. There's no a harm in it. But when I'm looking at it, and you do get, like, say, that 50 sub thing and a couple other stuff, like you're talking about, 100. I think at one point it was like maybe like 150, 160 was the payout or something, right? I can work 2 Saturdays and get more than that. Like, it's not about the money, but that is, in your mind, that's where it starts to come to you. Like, I put a lot of graft into that, and that was like for a month, a whole month of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and when you start to, when that thought did come into my head, I'm going, hold on a minute, man, is that it? Like, that's shite. That thought should never have come into my head. Is that it? Like, but it did.
Yeah. That's when it starts to turn into a job, isn't it? That's getting in that frame of mind. Like what you're talking there about, like people that find an audience as well. I always think that's it must be a poison chalice as well. Because you need to be like with Ninja. I mean, he was just known for like Fortnite, and anytime he tried to play another game, people would be like, "No, like, where's Fortnite?" Just. Although it's great, obviously, and I'm sure he's loving having the money and whatever else, but my God, it must be such a chore to be like, I need to go on and play Fortnite again for another 4 or 5 hours.
I think there's definitely thought in that. It's hard to feel sorry for a guy in his mansion with all his millions. But taking the person aside, out of it, taking him out of it, when you look at the idea of that, it is difficult to play games. I mean, even we experienced it in a much smaller scale with playing like Ghost Recon and playing games. It Takes Two and whatever else. Like, you're playing these games on like on a Friday night, and you're kind of forcing it almost, like, because you're like, right, I've played some more of this game, and it's getting to the point you're like, I don't even want to play this anymore. Like, but you feel like you have to, because you've already done other episodes there, or whatever you want to call it, but you've already done it before, so you may as well keep going. Like, I don't know. It's just a bit strange. Like, the whole Twitch thing has been it's been brilliant. This past year has been really good. I've met a lot of good people through it. It's a year and a half at this point now. I think I don't really look at the number anymore. I think the last time was maybe above or around about the 250 mark, which is really cool when you think back. I thought I was struggling to hit 50, never mind 100 and the rest. So, but again, I don't measure it like that anymore. I'm quite thankful for that. I used to think about it like that, but now it's just, I just put on Twitch now. I just gotta go live, and if people come in, they come in, and it's just for people. It's just to have a laugh with people, to be honest. Obviously you have the charity stuff, but which is good to have that up your sleeve. That happened. Is nobody can take that away from me. But I having like a place where I'm like, right, I can look at a nice set up in this game room, whatever, and I can put on a game, and I can totally kind of change the idea, because I'm live and I'm speaking about what I'm doing. Like, it just that adds another level to my gaming. If I'm playing a game that I'm like, this would work as a streaming game over me just playing it normally, like, that's not on a game. Like, I like talking through it and making a laugh about being stuck and whatever else. Like, it's fun, it's funny. It's just just as it's different, you know, and you can talk to other people. Like I can, you know, if you're in the stream, I can talk to you. Generally, I wouldn't be able to do that if I was just playing a game. Like if I was on the Xbox, I'm just playing a game myself, and nobody else was on like the voice chat, whatever. Like it's that social aspect to it. You know, as much as I like to probably deny it, like I'm a very social person, so it's hard at times just to sit and play games because I've not sat and played a game like a solo game myself, you know, for years probably at this point, because I'm usually in a chat or you know, streaming or whatever else. It's, I don't know, it's just a bit kind of strange, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm still going, still enjoying it. I think I obviously have an idea of different games and stuff that I want to play, and I would love to upgrade the PC and do different stuff. But seeing that at the end up, it's just something to do. It's just another wee hobby, another thing to look at and be able to look back on and go, man, I've got a Twitch channel, I've got a YouTube channel, and it's all that stemmed, that practice in logging in and speaking to people and dealing with different stuff and being in different people's chats, and you know, even modding in different people's chats, like all that creates confidence to do this. Like that was something that we thought about for years. I mean, I'm serious. In the first episode, you go back and listen, we mentioned it's 10 years or whatever. Like the idea of going on and speaking and creating stuff was so foreign to us back then. Like we did have the idea of creating the podcast, and I looked up, you know, podcasting equipment and whatever else, but you know, picking up some hints and tricks for different people, different podcasters and stuff over the years, that's what's helped create this. And speaking on like a Twitch stream it's different. Twitch stream's different to this because you're live. There's something fearful about being live. You have to be calm and confident and always on, and be actually able to speak to somebody. It's different to hold a conversation, never mind five.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a showmanship to like the best people at Twitch, aren't there? Like you have to have that. Like me, I just couldn't do Twitch. Like it's not the way I play games either. Like as you said, you're a very social gamer. I am not. You know, I'm one of the people who play a solo game, and I don't want to hear anybody talking about it. You know, I just want to listen to everything and take it in and just live in that moment. Whereas you could be somebody who plays a solo game, but just you don't mind people just talking right at the top of it, and you know, it doesn't bother you. You just rather be there for the social aspect. So I think you should always be proud of your Twitch, because although you've had the kind of hard times and like the kind of false start that you felt, but it's something that you always talked about for years, and you always kind of dabbled in it, as you said at the start, tried to do it when you're talking and stuff. And like, I mean, like how far you've came in all the years, and you've got a cracking set up now, and you, as you said, you can just do it whenever you feel like it. Nowadays, it's just like don't even think about it. It's just like, do you know what, today I'm just going to stream. That's just that, and you've got that capability and all the knowledge to do it, and it's something you should definitely be proud of. And as you said, if it was to for all that, we would even probably even started this podcast that we talked about for all the years.
Aye, it was a big driver for that. Obviously, having, you know, listened to different people podcasting, you pick up, you know, some of their thoughts and processes, but in terms of having like the equipment and drive to actually put something out there, I mean, I don't have any fear of pushing go live anymore, other than how's my internet running at the minute. Well, that's actually hard up. Like, if it wasn't for that, like I genuinely don't have. I had that when I first started. There is something about hitting go live. Some streamers will tell you that they still have it now. I think some of them are maybe saying that for attention more than anything else. But personally, I don't really have it because for me, I just enjoy playing games, and maybe people want to come and watch, or maybe what somebody's going to quickly check in and say hello, or whatever. That's all it is. It's basically like effectively it's playing a game and opening the window next to me. Like somebody might appear, maybe they won't. That's what I've started kind of looking at it like. I don't have a routine,
Yeah.
I don't have a schedule. I'm not interested in growing. I don't care. It's an outlet. It's something for me to have, to be able to think about if I'm struggling, with mental health or worrying about work or whatever else. I can just go, right, I'm going to play this game. Do you know what? I might stream that actually, a Sunday, rather than sitting about and try and go, oh, I don't want to do it, and I don't want to kill my Sunday. I don't want to play a game because my Sunday will go too quick. Like, no, I'll go and I'll stream for 2 or 3 hours and I'll just have a really good Sunday, have a really good time, enjoy myself, and that's kind of how I treat that now. Sunday mornings I'm in Rahul streams, Rahul Hoop _ if people aren't following him on Twitch. I'll go on his stream and he usually streams an indie game, and I'll make my breakfast and I'll do my dishes and I'm watching his streams, and then I'll go and maybe start one up myself on a Sunday or through the week. If if Gillian's wanting to watch something on TV, I'm like, do you know what, I'm going to go and I'm just going to go and do a wee stream, like, because it's different. It occupies a lot of your mind and you have to be kind of switched on, so it's a big distraction, and it's, as you say, it's good. I love going back and watching old clips, and seeing the difference, in terms of back on the PlayStation you were very limited. Streaming direct for the PS4, you were limited in what you could do, so it's just like a wee cutout of me, a wee cutout on the screen. There's me. You couldn't really control where it was placed, and then it's like night and day now compared to that, and like what it is now using OBS, teaching myself OBS, getting a stream deck, kind of teaching myself that, and using voice meter and all these different bits of technology, and even to this for the podcast. Like, we create this podcast, and we take it and edit it. There's a bit of a kind of fine polish to it. Gary's done all the artwork and stuff for it as well. We pull it all together. I don't have any worries, concerns, stresses about putting anything that we produce here out into the world. Doesn't faze me whatsoever. One person could listen to it, or 100 people could listen to it. It doesn't faze me. It does not faze me whatsoever. I don't worry about it anymore. I don't have that fear of scheduling it. It's just pure excitement.
Yeah.
Because we dreamt of doing it, and something that I done over the last year helped build that confidence that I'm happy with I'm happy with what it is that we're producing, and I know that there is an audience for it. And even if there wasn't, like, we're still putting it out there because it's something that we've got digitally there to look at. I love looking. See, when I go in the car, see that first episode that dropped, I can open my Spotify and there's a Vault Dwellers podcast logo right next to the Office Ladies podcast, right next to Kind of Funny's podcast, whatever. Our podcast is on Spotify. Somebody can randomly find our podcast on Spotify and on YouTube.
Cool,
you know what I mean? Cool. Like, you go in, there's 5 episodes or whatever it is sitting there for people to listen to. Just been anybody in the world can hit play and our voices come out. That's mad.
Yeah. I said that the other day. Sean, I texted him. I was like, I think it's just funny how, like, it's just sitting there. I'm like, it's just sitting there on YouTube. Like, I do yours on YouTube, so it's just funny. It's just sitting there, and it's just like a wee diary. And, in 10 years' time, if we're still doing it, you can go back and you can just listen to episode 1, and it's just always going to be there.
Crazy.
And it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'll look forward to the day that even we hit 100, and maybe episode 100 will be let's do a react to the first episode. No, I'm joking, but it's one of the things we're no, thankfully we're not planning to go anywhere anytime soon. It's purely a passion project, and that's what Twitch is for me as well. So before we wrap up, we have, obviously, as I mentioned, we've got a wee write-in.
Reader question.
And we were we were listening to, we were watching, and I was actually on the stream, Andy Mac, friend of the podcast, Andy Mac 9995. If you're looking for him over on Twitch, he streams a lot of Sea of Thieves primarily, and a lot of the time he kind of invites me on, or we set a day during the week for playing the game, and he'll just kind of stream it. And he did an affiliate stream on Friday night. So me and Gary jumped on. Gary was in the chat. I came on and invaded his game and played a wee hour with him, and Gary managed to wrangle at him a wee question. So we love a write-in. We did have one a few weeks ago as well, and we do really appreciate it. So in the YouTube below, we comment, or MrMac92 on Twitter. Honestly, it would just make our day to have a few more questions, anything at all. We would really appreciate it. Obviously, we don't usually tease the topics, so it's hard to get one to fit. So, and I think I'd like to keep it that way just at the minute, because I like to keep our podcast episodes on the down low a wee bit until they're out. So, but yeah, I'd like a couple of write-ins. It would be amazing. So Andy's, and I should premise this way, Andy's a bit of a bomb scare, man. This could be anything that he's going to write here. There might be a big editing gap in this when I open his question and ask it, but yeah,
I'll get the bleep button ready.
There's no limit. Yeah, as I say, we would appreciate it. So let's take Andy's question. So Andy writes in, what's the weirdest thing? That's a good start, isn't it? What is the weirdest thing you've ever ended up buying or doing, any kind of spending money because of your hobby? So like he's wrote here, like an embarrassing special edition or something. So I'll kind of go first, because it's probably not the most embarrassing, but it's pretty bad, man. I bought, when one of the Hitman games came out, I bought the special edition for Hitman, and it came with this wee bank, this special edition Hitman bank. Do you remember it?
No.
It was like a money bank, like where you would actually put like pound coins in, but it was this weird, it was a weird oblong shaped head bank, and I honestly do not know why I spent any additional money than the base game for this. I don't even spend like money on special editions for games that I enjoy, like for models that I would actually display. This was a fucking ridiculous bank. I've no idea. It was like he had his akimbo guns in his hands and everything. It was like a cartoon South Park version. Do you know what it reminded me? Like, remember the old South Park Cartman banks that you would get?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me. It was just this weird looking thing. I've no idea like why I would ever have bought something like that. Absolutely fucking blows my mind.
Do you think of special editions in Hitman, and somebody actually went in that boardroom and went, do you know what? A bank?
I know. Why would you want a bank? What does that do?
How does that even come up?
I don't honestly. I've no idea like why anybody would ever want to own I'm talking about like a piggy bank. It was such a strange thing. I'm actually trying to see if I can find it. Because it was a weird thing that I got. And I think I actually made like a conscious decision to actually get it as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when I seen it.
So that's a good idea. This comes to a bank. I'll start saving my money instead of spending it on special editions.
Aye, it's yeah. Look, this is it here, rare edition. So it was for Hitman Absolution. Right. See if I can show you.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
See it?
It looks like a Funko Pop.
Aye, mate. It was about, I don't know, that high. It's tall.
Wow.
Stupid.
Where is it now?
In the bin.
With your models.
Aye. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like it's a weird. It's just you can't really see that. It's a weird thing that I don't even know. I don't even really think I like to game. In all honesty.
No, Absolution was very good.
But aye. So that was I'd say that was my weirdest thing. I can't really think anything else. Money wise that I bought for like I've not really bought anything for Twitch that I would consider to be embarrassing, even like money wise. To be honest with you, I can't really think of anything, and I don't really buy special edition games. What about you? Do you have anything that comes to mind?
I don't really think anything for my hobby because there's nothing really embarrassing about buying paintbrushes and paints. But probably one of the most embarrassing things I probably bought for a good bit of money was my Star Wars helmets. That I bought when I was 29 or 30. I bought a Darth Vader Black Edition helmet and a Mandalorian Black Edition helmet. Just decided I was going to buy these helmets and I bought them. And, people see them and they go, oh, they're quite cool. And I just know in their minds they're thinking, you've actually bought them.
I know. And it's not even like a wee plastic thing, it's like a heavy duty.
Oh, aye, full size. You can literally fit it on you. The Darth Vader one comes apart and everything, comes into like the 3 parts. So you can wear it as like on Darth Vader and everything. One says that's what I should go like for Halloween. She was like, you've already got the baldy head. I thought, oh, thanks very much.
Listen, you might as well, to be honest with you. You need to get used to these.
I know, but no, that's probably the most embarrassing. I never tell anybody about them. Although, like right above my wardrobe is like this full Star Wars like section of my room. It's the only bit of my room that's actually like you could tell that somebody lives there. It's like a showroom. Apart from that, at the top of my wardrobe, it's just got Star Wars statues and my Star Wars helmets.
Listen, it is a passion, and that's passion drives you to do all sorts of weird things. So I very appreciate that question, Andy. Very tame for you. So I'm proud of you as well for keeping it clean. Andy wrote that live when we were in his chat yesterday. So shout out to Andy Mac. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Andy.
Check him out on these on Twitter and Twitch, and make sure you check out his Sea of Thieves content because it's pretty funny. I really enjoy it. I like playing the game with him. It was probably one of the biggest drivers for picking up an Xbox at the time because that game looks super fun, and joining in with him and that has been it's been a fun time over the last year. So shout out to you, Andy. Thanks, mate. So that's us for this week. I've really enjoyed this week's one. It's been a lot longer than I thought it was actually going to go. I didn't think we would get this much out of this topic here.
No, I never thought it would reach anywhere this time wise. I thought we would have been lucky if we got an hour, but we just obviously, it's just one of these things. It's a personal thing, and you just don't realise how much you can say about it. But no, it's I'm glad that, again, I keep saying these are like nice introductory kind of episodes, and I'm glad to get them out there, just because it's stuff that we actually are passionate about and want to talk about. So yeah, so thanks for listening, everybody. It's been a great time as usual.
Yeah, it's just what Gary was saying there in terms of getting that flavour for who we are, before we delve into some of the other topics that we've got lined up. And if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover, then again, drop them in the YouTube channel as well, and we can get them added to the ever-growing list of potential ideas. So drop a like and all that good stuff. Appreciate you listening this far, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Goodbye, children.
Hi everyone, thanks for listening. This has been the Vault Dwellers Podcast. If you'd like to keep up with myself and Mr. Gary Moore, Gary is on Instagram at Gary Moore's Art, and you can find myself over on Twitter and Twitch at MrMac92. And a very special shout out to a very talented artist, our good friend Hoodie, for creating the logos used on the Vault Dweller Podcast. Keep up with Hoodie at the Penny Marvels on social media.